Wow.
So everyone take thanks for Ed for not leaving us in the lurch.
Wow. Love it. Oh, I gotta get my.
Check, check.
Yeah.
My mic's on. My mic is on. Check, check. Mic check. Hi. Huh?
Well, like,
17.
I'm hungry.
We all got like shades.
Yesterday.
Anthony's tired, you
10:06.
guys.
Not at all. Come on.
It's gonna be a roll down the windows when you drive home kind of a day,
Yeah,
huh?
chew on some gum.
Yeah.
I'm still feeling a little jet lag from the. It was way too short of a time that I had in Italy. I was only there for 5 days.
Yeah.
You need 2 weeks.
Okay.
10 days.
Because you
minimum.
adjust and then you enjoy.
Whoa,
Wow.
Whoa, whoa. Cue the hallelujah chorus, everybody.
We have someone learning back there, Grant.
The light shineth bright on the ChicagoNOW team to kick off a Wednesday. We got a lot to get to here. AI, obviously, we've been hearing tons about AI. It's reshaping how we all do our jobs. And the question is it become less important to keep our human interaction skills or more? We're going to get the answer to that.
I'm loving AI lately.
Oh my gosh.
The ChatGPT.
ChatGPT.
When I tell you it'll give you your like life, what is that called? Tips and advice. Like you could go to ChatGPT to like tell you what to do.
Who needs friends anymore? But
Listen.
there is one jobs expert we're going to be speaking with that has a different take on this. Says that it's because we're becoming so reliant on it, it makes human skills, things like empathy and human-to-human interaction, all the more important. So we're going to.
I feel like it does have empathy. That's the scary part. And I'll explain too.
I
my
want you to take that
recently.
question directly toward to our expert.
Okay.
Also, this is something strangely relevant on our shift. The notion of a sleep divorce. Have you guys heard about
No.
a sleep divorce? Okay,
Yeah.
so it's basically where married couples opt for different beds.
Yeah.
Okay, and why that happens, why it's a trend, and some of the implications there with regard to the marriage itself. And finally, a little later in the show, we're going to be diving into one of our favorite things on the internet, and it might just be the cutest thing you guys
ever
have seen all day. I don't
seen.
know. We've gotten a
All
lot of
right.
cuteness in the studio today. Did you see Winston?
I did.
Did you guys see Winston?
I did.
Fluffy doggy.
This is
So
the
cute.
Lake Forest Police Department's newest comfort dog.
It's a puppy.
Oh my gosh.
What kind of dog was
Soft,
it?
Barony?
Saint Bernard, I think.
Saint Bernard.
Saint Bernard.
Softest dog I've ever pet. Softest. I mean, it was as soft as not just like a stuffed animal, but like a stuffed animal on day one, right out of the store, where it's not
It's silky.
yet, like exactly.
Like
It
those
was
soft blankets
fluffy.
before you wash
so
them.
cute. But before we get to all that, we have some very interesting and slightly disturbing. Sorry, slightly disturbing.
Very disturbing.
Trending topics to get to with Justine.
Yes, so the first topic we're talking about, Annabelle. So the doll
Annabelle.
handler of Annabelle, Dan Rivera, he just passed away on July 13th. If you're not familiar with Annabelle, she's the so-called haunted doll made popular by the Conjuring movies. Well, there's nothing suspicious about his death. We found that out.
Okay.
But paranormal believers are asking what's going to happen with the doll. A few weeks ago, there was this rumor going around that Annabelle was missing and that she was in Chicago. So the story went viral. We found out that she's not in Chicago, but where's she going next?
How did he die? Why is it not suspicious?
I think it was just natural causes.
Natural
Yeah.
causes.
The
Okay,
thing
so here's
is,
the thing.
it's not suspicious in the investigatory
Sure.
sense.
Right.
But like
It's
why?
suspicious in the
Annabelle sense.
Annabelle sense.
Okay, so I did some research. I was literally sitting over there reading all about this Annabelle doll. So on the right there, you can see that Raggedy Ann doll. That's the Annabelle doll. So I guess back in 1970, or the early 70s, a nurse received Annabelle, this doll, as a gift from her mom. And the doll was doing weird things. She had a roommate. I guess they would find notes in their house on parchment paper, and they didn't even have parchment paper in their house or apartment. I think it was a house. And the position of the doll would change. It would move room to room, and there was one incident. Now, again, this is all stuff I've read online. I don't know if it's actually happened.
Well,
but
if it's on the internet, it's true. but
Right.
Proceed.
So one incident where she was having a friend spend the night. It was a guy on a couch, and he woke up feeling like he couldn't breathe, like he was being strangled. The doll was there, just sitting there staring at him, and he had scratches all over his chest. So then this Warren family, the woman, I guess since she was little, she saw like auras around people. She said she's a very devout Catholic. Her husband also got into paranormal activity interest when he was young. So they kind of paired up, and they reached out, they got this doll, and turns out they named it Annabelle because of where this nurse lived. I guess a girl had lived there and died when she was like 6 or 7. So they thought that maybe it was Annabelle, the little girl in this doll.
Oh, yeah.
So then the Warrens took this doll and they put it in their museum, locked it in a box and said, don't touch it. So one of the stories that came from Don't Touch This Doll, because they believed that there was a
The
spirit.
museum, back up, pause for a second.
Yes.
The museum, is it a paranormal museum?
Is it
They collect all
occult?
these paranormal items.
Oh, okay. So
Occult
they
museum?
took ownership of the doll,
Yeah.
locked it away. Okay.
Yeah,
Proceed.
okay.
Thank you.
So I guess underneath the box it said, do not touch, do not open the box. So I guess one day there was a guy taunting the doll, and on his way home he was driving a motorcycle and he got in an accident and died, and they blamed it on this doll. But I guess too, they thought that there was some spirit in this doll that wanted to latch onto a human host, as they called it. So they were worried about that happening. But yeah, so then this happened. So I guess they said don't move this doll around, and this guy was taking the Annabelle doll on a tour around the country, and then this happened. So I think this is why it's just a spooky story. I know I was reading too, like the Warren woman was saying, like out of all of her paranormal museum, she was most scared of the Annabelle doll.
Wow. Okay, you did a deep dive on
Yeah,
this, Caitlin.
deep dive.
I mean, I'm not saying you don't always thoroughly research
I
our
don't,
topics
though.
here on ChicagoNOW. you went particularly deep on this one. Tell me about that decision.
I mean, I'm curious, right? I'm not. I know there's like a thing right now where they say like women like murder mysteries. I'm not so much into that, but I was
Paranormal
curious.
stuff?
I was looking through our show and I thought, oh, what's the story behind this Annabelle doll? Why is it haunted? What happened?
We didn't even have a cause of death. We didn't know enough during Good Day today to even say what you just said, that it was a natural causes, like not a suspicious death whatsoever. We had no cause of death when we reported it on the news today. one thing I wanted to mention is, so I'm, like when it comes to these things,
Skeptic?
Skeptic, but I'm like halfway in between because here, that Titanic submersible that imploded and killed everyone up.
Sure.
It's one of those things where I'm like, just leave the boat alone. Like you know, that does go through my head. Like if there is anything odd out there, it's like just
be curious and
Oh,
curious.
so is there a connection there between like being creepy, like haunted Titanic and this submersible?
There's a little, to me, it's the same ballpark when you're talking about, all right, moving the thing around when it shouldn't be moved around, and like just visiting the Titanic, you know, being so upset, like this stuff.
So now that Annabelle needs this new doll handler, would you guys volunteer to do it?
What?
Exactly to my point, no.
No.
I'm
What about you?
No.
Why would anybody?
Right.
What is with this guy?
There's a
Rest in peace.
there's a phrase for like, you know, just when in doubt, I'm not gonna mess with it.
Yeah. Well, and then I was reading like the comments that people were writing underneath this post, and some of the people were like, well, the comments saying like it was fake, they're like, well, obviously they have not had an experience, like a paranormal experience, and it shows. Have you guys?
Yes, I've had a couple.
Ooh, give me the juicies. Come on.
I feel like we might have touched on this a couple months ago. We stayed in a house in Mexico.
Oh, yeah, with
and
the
there
music.
the music, the chapel. There were 3 or 4 incidents throughout the week. I won't run through them again.
Yeah.
Flickering lights, the sound, a loud sound like a wood chair being dragged across a porcelain floor happened one time.
Right.
And a couple other, we heard these voices at night. And so, like I would say.
Was that the only time?
Those were, yes. And then my mom reports one from the house where she used to live where she found a porcelain
Toilet.
No, porcelain bowl that had fallen out of a cabinet, and instead of shattering on the porcelain floor, it landed like
Perfectly
just
on the
perfectly
ground.
there, boom, like that. It was just face down on the floor, and she couldn't explain that. So those are my 2.
Whoa, is that the
about you?
house that was by the railroad
Yes,
tracks?
you've been there. You've been to
It
the
looked like
coach
that
house.
had a lot of history. Oh, can you tell us a little bit about that?
1890s.
That was a cool house. You told me.
It was a dairy. It was an old dairy. It's called R.F. Clark Street Dairy back in the 1800s, and it's in Lincoln Square. And there was a back coach house. Caitlin had
It
her
was so
photo
cool.
taken there. 'Cause
Yeah.
my sister's a photographer. They converted it into a studio. It was a auto body shop before we got the place, and before decades
And the
and
L
decades
is
and
right
decades.
behind it.
The brown line runs
It is
right behind
so
it.
Chicago.
Very Chicago.
This place.
What's your paranormal?
I want to know yours.
Okay.
Mine is not that juicy.
So, I think
let's
mine
hear your
is
story.
similar. I think one time I went to this older house. It was abandoned. Someone had died in it.
Okay.
The
Did you
doors
know
are-
that?
All
Is
the
that why you
elements.
went there?
We
All
knew
the
that.
elements of
So
it.
it was like a family member,
Oh.
who
Oh.
had died, and the doors were boarded up. We went down there. No one had been down there, but it looked like the piano keys were just recently used. There was no dust on it or anything.
Oh.
Ew.
No one had been there for decades.
No way.
It was-
Everything else was
Wow.
dusty.
Everything else was dusty. That was the only thing
Except
that
for
was
the piano
completely,
keys?
yeah, completely
Did
clean.
the deceased family member play the piano?
Yes.
We
Ooh.
just solved it.
Ooh.
there.
Right, it's
That's a
her. It's
good
gotta
one.
be her.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Or maybe the top was closed and you didn't see someone sneak down before you and just like pop it open.
But the doors are boarded up.
Oh.
No one else had been in there.
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
that's a
about
weird one.
yours?
Oh, mine, not as, like I said, not really juicy. I think the house. This is another story that I had already mentioned too. But our house that I grew up in, my great grandparents both died in it. You know, natural causes. But my dad and my brothers both have claimed to have seen like my grandpa walking through the house.
Wow.
Like my dad said one night he was sitting and in the kitchen there's like a window to this other room, and he said he saw like my great grandpa walk through the kitchen and sit down in the room with him.
That's pretty.
That's
What's
pretty
not juicy
spooky.
about that?
Yeah.
That's
pretty
juicier
well,
than
I
ours.
didn't experience.
Okay.
So I
Oh,
don't-
okay. Yeah, that's here. Well, yeah, I didn't experience the bull.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other ones, that was firsthand.
Yeah, but I mean, knock on wood, nothing too
Okay.
spooky.
Hey, Annabelle, if you're listening, we're just reporting the news. We're not tempting this stuff. We're not adjusting. What? Oh no! Did you see that editing effect? Oh
Wait,
no!
Don't.
All right, Justine, on that note, what else is
I
trending?
think
What else
we're
is trending?
skipping the
Let's
Minaj
move
story.
on.
Let's go to the Portillos.
So the next thing, as you guys know, it's National Hot Dog
Oh,
Day.
it is.
And Portillo's,
Switching gears.
switching gears. Portillo's is teaming up with Lou Malnati's with a limited edition Chicago-style deep dish pizza.
Okay.
What are your thoughts? Are you into it? Would you try it?
Wait, it's a hot
would
dog
try
pizza?
it.
It's a hot dog pizza. The pizza has everything a hot dog has on it. It even has like the hot dog,
Oh, cute.
I definitely
hot dog
would.
slices
Wait,
on
give
there,
me that.
Because they've done certain other versions of this on different holidays. I don't know if it's Cinco de Mayo or where they convert the traditional pizza into like another, and it always delivers.
Oof.
Like it's like,
Oof.
I mean, a pizza is a good delivery
Just
mechanism.
a good piece of
for-
Right.
bread
Yeah,
with
exactly.
different toppings.
Exactly.
What is the sauce? What's the
we
sauce?
know?
I believe the sauce is just a regular tomato sauce,
Oh,
but it
okay.
has tomatoes on it too. Tomato
Yeah.
like full pieces.
So it's not like mustard.
They have mustard on top of it.
Okay.
So it's like a mustard little spread, but it's not the sauce. It's just on top.
You bite it and get a
Heads
mouthful of
up.
mustard.
There are some deals to be had on hot dogs today, it being National Hot Dog
Yeah.
Day. We got them posted on our website.
We do.
Box32chicago.com. There were 3 or 4 where you can get free hot dog with drink. You can get, real
They're
good.
giving out
They're
the
actual
free
good
ones.
deals.
They're
Yeah.
giving out free pizza slices. I believe it's at
Oh.
Lou Malnati's for the Chicago.
For the Chicago dog.
Chicago dog.
All right, this is news we can use.
Wow.
Justine, we
Yum.
are getting the wrap. And when we come back, thank you so much, as always. So hopefully we
fun.
didn't tempt the fates with all that talk.
Stop
guys.
it, Anthony.
All right, fine. Okay, I'm going to stop. AI. Speaking of creepy,
Yeah.
AI. I mean,
is
empathetic. You're right.
creepy, yeah, but-
ChatGPT is built in, like with a little empathy in there.
Yeah.
But we are going to be speaking with a jobs expert on all the implications of all this AI technology sifting into our workplace when we come back right after this. Everybody, stay with us.
You really did a deep dive. That
.22. Welcome back to Chicago Now. It has been a juicy show so far, I think. And now we're talking about AI. So here's the thing. AI is changing, which we all know this, the way we work, from automating everyday tasks to helping us make sense of big data. But there's one thing it still can't do: be human. And as artificial intelligence reshapes the job market, soft skills like communication, empathy, adaptability are becoming more valuable than ever. So joining us now to talk about the growing importance of those human skills and how you can showcase them in your own career is James Hornick. He's the partner at HireWell. James, good morning to you.
Hey, James.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you for being on the show. What do you feel like? Kind of give us a baseline to kick this conversation off. I find myself asking, ChatGPT more and more stuff
Same.
of late. And Caitlin was pointing out kind of during the commercial break, we were talking about empathy. She's like, well, ChatGPT does have empathy. So as a baseline, like, what do we need to be keeping in mind about our human
empathy.
skills
Yeah.
with the oncome of AI in the workplace?
Oh, that's a big question. I guess it kind of soft skills versus hard skills. I think that from a hard skill standpoint, in terms of actually being able to do work, you still need people who are highly skilled to know how to do things because AI makes so many errors. To give you an example, if you're a software development, right? So there's a lot of tools out there that if you are a great software developer, you could spin up a new application, a new piece of software really quick. But if you're just a regular person, you can't. Like, I wouldn't be able to actually create like a fully working software application. But I think what people kind of forget though is that in order to do that, you also have to be able to check all the different errors and stuff like that it's going to make, which is why someone who's very skilled in one area is able to do it and someone who isn't can't. And that really kind of applies to a lot of things. I mean, that applies to like accounting. You're not allowed to have your books get messed up. There's a lot of things a lot of skills where it's still kind of crucial. But from a soft skill standpoint, it's more important than ever. It's all we got. So what we're seeing a high demand still for sales-based roles, client-facing based roles. Those are the things that are still going to continue to be in high demand because, to your point, empathy, human ability, those are the things that AI just can't replicate.
And what I meant by that was, I asked AI, ChatGPT, a question. I said, should I do this or should I do this? And I provided some details. And the response that I got back, and I think the reason why the lines get blurred is because the way that ChatGPT wrote me back a message was very human-like. Because we're so used to connecting to other humans these days through texting, through emailing. So it feels like there's a human behind it, which is the creepy and weird part, because you get this message back and you're like, oh, that was really good. And in your mind, you're thinking like, oh, this is a person helping me get to this conclusion, when in reality, there's no person behind it. And that's the part that, like, I feel like as humans now, we're going to, if we haven't yet, have trouble connecting and realizing and remembering that this is not a person that you're talking to.
Yeah, and those types of feelings you have that you feel like it's a human they start to fall apart when you start seeing it make errors. Okay. If you ask it more drill down questions and more things more specifically, like the amount of times I've tried to like create a workflow process and it's wrong, and I point out the errors it makes, and it always comes back with, oh yeah, you're right, I didn't think, it gets frustrating, I guess, because the charisma it has turns out to be faker and faker the more kind of detailed and granular you get with what you're trying to work with it on.
At this point in time, that may be the case. When Caitlin was bringing up her example there, it occurred to me, James, that call center representatives, where you are calling in someone on the other end of a phone or someone on the other end of a chat online, like a live chat online, that strikes me as a unique position where hard skills and soft skills kind of come together as one. Do you think that a job like that is going to be replaced sooner than later by AI?
So I don't think the job itself is going to be replaced. First off, there's a lot of CEOs out there that like to make these bold claims about how AI is going to replace everything because it makes them sound progressive and smart and how their company's on the cutting edge. I think it's not going to be nearly as much as what people say. What AI will be able to do well is create agents and workflows to make those people able to handle more, work faster. There's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes, like looking at your production studio there, right? Like, I'm on a Zoom, I'm joining you guys today, it's getting recorded. There's a lot of things that have to happen in terms of, okay, you get the transcript, you're going to eventually post it online, you're going to do all these different things. You could get AI to automate that and do all that for you. But that doesn't mean it's not going to have errors that humans have to kind of course correct. But to your point, like a call center type role, the thing that AI can't do is solve unique problems the first time. It's relying on past experiences and data that it scrapes, and that's why roles that are client facing, that do have some sort of strategic element to it, or have You have to solve a problem that a client might have. Like AI can't really do that as well as a human can because it's always going to be different. There's so many variables every single time.
So the anxiety that people might have, as Anthony just mentioned, losing their job maybe to AI, what would you tell them to calm their nerves, or advice to give them to make them a stronger candidate for a position over AI? I know you mentioned the human aspect, but just speaking to that person right now today that's thinking, oh gosh, in 5 years my job is going to be obsolete.
A few things. First off, in terms of job seeking, nothing beats having good relationships and getting back to networking. Networking stresses people out, I think, because I think when people think networking, they're always thinking, I got to go out and meet random strangers. It really comes back to reconnecting with everyone you already know, people you've met in the past previously, friends, coworkers, making sure you're top of mind with them. In terms of like finding your next job, that's always the winning formula. In terms of how to AI proof your skill set, there are some skills that are, I think, less prone to being replaced by AI. So sales jobs, anything client-facing that has a strategic element to it is a safer play. Anything that's building actual tangible products, so anything in kind of skilled trades or engineering is more safe with it. But then even past that, if you can learn how to use AI and solve problems with it, like companies need those people too. It's not just, don't think of AI in terms of, oh, I know how to use ChatGPT to write a letter or to create an email or something simple, but in terms of how to create that workflow, like I was mentioning, like how to automate the processes in your studio right there, like that takes someone who understands, like that person is invaluable, one who can figure out how to make everyone else more effective.
That's really interesting. So it's not an either/or
Embrace
model.
it.
It can be an and thing. And hey, who can help us leverage this technology even better? Okay. In terms of showing off, let's take the first category, and that is bolstering our human skills. What advice do you have to job seekers to really accentuate those in an interview situation?
I think the key things is being a good listener and asking the right questions. If you're able to, when you said showing off, I always find that to be a little problematic because when people think showing off, they're just going to talk a lot and talk about everything they know. But really, it kind of comes down if you're interviewing for a job and this company is having a problem of some sort that they're hiring you to solve, or maybe let's say it's a software company and they're creating an app, and they mentioned they have a lot of users falling off after the first use. A good way of showing off your listening skills, your empathy, is asking more specific questions about that. Like, are they churning users the first time, or is it over the course of a few days, or these people who aren't using your product anymore, do they come from the same area? Do they have the same attributes? What is it about? What are they coming from a traffic source? Like those types of things. Asking more specific questions to pinpoint what their problem is shows listening skills, shows a bit of empathy, shows you're thinking about how to solve a problem, as opposed to bragging or about like things you've done previously. But listening skills are really demonstrating listening skills by listening and asking questions is definitely the way to go. Absolutely.
I love that, and actually hearing what they're saying instead of just glossing over and going to what you're thinking of next. I've got a two-part question because you mentioned and behind you hire well. I mean, to Anthony's point, interview questions that might be asked of you. When is it too far as asking, because this is something I've always learned too, is asking the person questions about themselves. People love to talk about themselves. I feel like that's a good way to go. Also, talking about your own skills. Where's the line there for too far? Like you're getting too personal by asking them too many questions about themselves. And then also like talking about your own skills and your own ability. When is it appropriate and when is it too much?
So if you're the company hiring, doing the interview, you're asking?
No, the interviewee. So like if I'm going to an interview, like I want to ask that employer questions about themselves because I feel like that's a human thing to want to talk about themselves. But I don't want to cross the line with that. Or,
Sure.
And also the other half of it is, talking about my own skills and my ability, but not sounding like narcissistic.
Sure. Okay. In a first interview, I probably wouldn't. Your first kind of screen or a first round pass interview, you have limited time and
Yeah.
you really have to show that you're the right person for the job, I probably wouldn't ask any personal questions that first interview.
Okay.
If you get to later stages when you're trying to decide these people, because when you get further along, the second time you talk to someone, that's when I might do it a little bit. Chances are they're going to ask you, like, what do you like to do for fun? And that more kind of opens up kind of an avenue of like asking the same question back,
Yeah.
or something like that. I would, if you're trying to decide if this company is like the right place for you, I think there's other things you can ask about their values, why they joined the company. Maybe that's a good personal question to ask because it is personal, but it's what got them to join, why they're still there. I would go more that route as opposed to like asking just like, what do you do for fun? I think those questions are fair, but I wouldn't waste the limited time you have in the early stages of the interview process on that when there's better information you can get out of it.
Gotcha.
Okay, one more question before you leave us, James. How much the typical? I know there's no typical workforce, but like, how are there any industries left where AI does not have its tentacles, or are AI's tentacles basically everywhere now?
It's getting to be everywhere, but it depends to what degree. As I mentioned, manufacturing, anything where you're or real estate, like building real estate and construction, or things where things are actually getting built tangibly, those are the jobs that can't be replaced by AI. That's not to say that those companies couldn't have AI in their back office processes or things like that, but anything like, again, anything where you're building real things. And then I'd say secondarily, any industry where you're not allowed to have mistakes. Like there are AI solutions out there and software out there that benefit like accounting or law. But again, if you're an accounting firm and you're working on behalf of your clients, like you're not allowed to make mistakes. Like you have to have a lot of humans making sure that everything's in double, triple checked. Same thing with law. You can't hallucinate cases out there. You have to actually make sure you're going through your briefs with a fine-tooth comb. So industries where things have to be perfect are the areas where you're safer.
All right, James Hornick, thank you so much talking about this changing landscape. We appreciate it, sir. Come back sometime.
Thanks for having me.
He used the word hallucinate.
Yeah.
I heard that. That's a common one. My friend who's really adept at using AI, that's when they totally go off the rails. That's called hallucination. Yeah. Is that right? Did I get that
happens.
Right?
That is correct. It happens a lot. The more you use it, you realize it has no idea what it's talking about.
Yeah.
So.
No.
It's just
word to the wise. James, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. And we are back with more. This next topic, strangely relevant to us. We're going to be talking about what's known as a sleep divorce that is coming up with a sleep expert right after this. Everybody, stay with us.
10:38, welcome back. And I'm so curious and excited to hear, Anthony, if you guys do this. We're talking about sleep divorce. So right now we're diving into a topic that's changing how couples think about rest, relationships, sleep divorce. Joining us is Dr. James Rowley. He's a spokesperson for the American Academy of Sleep Medicine and former board president, to explain why sleep divorce, what it means, and why more couples are openly choosing this route.
Dr. Rowley, thank you for being here, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Good morning.
Okay, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get our definitions before we do anything else. What is a sleep divorce?
It basically means that a couple has decided to sleep separately. It's a little bit of a harsh term, but for most people, it's actually a positive development.
Positive development. Okay, so you have the word divorce in there, but it doesn't necessarily harm relationships. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think for many patients, for many couples, it actually helps improve their relationship because they have such different compatibilities when it comes to sleep and sleep habits that it's actually better for them to realize that and to each get a separate but good night's sleep.
Okay, so is this how, from what you are seeing from patients in the American public, how common is a sleep divorce these days?
Well, the Academy recently did a survey, and upwards of about 1/3 of adults have indicated that they are engaging in this. It's probably more than I actually see as a clinical population, but it's definitely becoming quite common.
So I will say, in my own experience, it happened for me and my husband when we had kids, because I work an early shift. So I'd put the baby down, just go to bed with the baby, and to not disturb us, he would sleep separately. And we've actually, so now our sleep is so messed up because now we have 3 kids and we're sleeping. We haven't slept, this is gonna be like TMI, in the same bed like for a full night since we had kids.
Wow. Yeah.
Do you find that to be common when you have children, that's when it changes?
I would think yes, especially I think you have a very common situation, which is people either working different shifts, or they themselves, one person's a night owl and the other person's a morning lark. So, they have very different ideas of when sleep should occur. And I think that can come out more prominently when you also then have kids who may be on one partner's shift more than the others.
That's right.
In terms of when they sleep as well.
Caitlin, you're in good company. So I don't know if this would be a sleep divorce per se, but Caitlin and I both work the early shifts. So during the work week, we are separate because sleep
So
above
you do
all.
it
Yeah.
too.
Because I put down the boys, or I put down Jero, so that's
Right,
like a
the
9
little
p.m.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a late for our shift. 9 p.m.
Yeah.
That's a late. I have to get up so early for this. And then on the weekends, we're back in our bedroom. So we're kind of a hybrid model. Maybe we're sleep separated right now.
Yeah, maybe.
And maybe it's a temporary thing. What would you say to those people who keep that sacred? Like, because I've talked to other people and married couples, and they say, we do not let the kids in our room, like that's for us. If people who are very
by the book, traditional.
What would you say to them to maybe ease their thoughts about this?
Well, I would say you have to go by what works best for you as a couple and as a family. It also depends on the age of the kids, because there is some evidence that kids should not regularly sleep with their parents either.
Is that true?
Because that's not good for their sleep.
Oh.
Certainly, it's fine when there's a bad dream or thunderstorms and stuff like that. But there's a lot of great evidence that co-sleeping is not the best thing for kids. And so you really have to take each couple and each family sort of individually to see what would work for them. Can
we dive into that?
I think that's what I would basically say.
Why is co-sleeping with your children not good for the kids? You said.
Well, because it can disrupt both sides of the sleep. Because if you're a snorer or you haven't, it's sort of similar for the same reasons why it's not great for adults, right? If they have different sleep schedules if there is the adult snores loudly or has bad insomnia or has restless legs and be kicking, that could interrupt the child as well. So generally, co-sleeping I think there's evidence that it might be okay if it's in the room, but not necessarily in the same bed. And so kids need to learn, and then also kids learn to not sleep unless they're with their parents, which is also not a good thing, especially when you're doing it with really younger ages.
Yeah.
Probably not as much of a problem with older kids, because older kids don't want to probably sleep with their parents anymore.
Dr. Rowley, can there be a downside in terms of intimacy and connection when a couple decides to sleep in separate beds?
Well, I think that's definitely a concern, and what people would advise is that if you decide to do this, you also then have to make the positive decision of when intimacy will occur, when will you have your together time, so to speak, and then each couple just has to sort of navigate that. But I think that's something that each couple has to just work on their own.
I think too, it's funny because a lot of times with couples, one is a cuddler and one is a don't touch me.
Yes.
Maybe with your toe when you're sleeping. So that might be an issue too. Have you seen that in your talking to different couples? Is that a problem where it's one can sleep snuggled up and the other one is like, I need some space, it's too hot?
I must admit, I don't think I usually ask that type of question.
I would. I would be asking the most inappropriate questions if I was in your position. Oh, it's interesting.
Where are we with the stigma factor of this, Dr. Rowley?
The stigma factor?
The stigma factor. Okay, for example, in mental health, it's becoming less and less of a stigma to go to therapy, to talk about the fact that you're in therapy, all that stuff. Where are we with regard to the sleep divorce? Caitlin and I, obviously, we're on TV. We're pretty open about this. I don't really feel a huge amount of like, oh my gosh, this is a red flag for my marriage. But a lot of that comes with the fact that we work the early shift. If I wasn't working the early shift, I might be a little more self-conscious about this,
Yeah, I think it's getting more accepted because it's being talked about, and it's in the media. I've seen articles. We're obviously doing this interview today. So I think it's definitely something that people are more familiar with and are comfortable with. There is definitely evidence that it's more common in younger people, which to me suggests that it's something that younger couples are willing to discuss and talk about. I think for older couples, they're probably, they come from an era where the expectation is you're going to sleep together, right, in the same bed, and so it's probably harder to change their ways. But I think definitely we're at a point where it's going to be something that's pretty common for a lot of people.
All right, Dr. Rowley, I'm surprised to hear you say it sounds like sleep divorce is A-okay in order to get those Z's.
I like it just because I'm
if you've worked it out together.
Yes,
if you've worked it out together.
Thank you so much for the perspective.
You're very welcome.
I think we're removing the stigma one day at a time here.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. James
Get your
Rowley,
sleep.
thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sleep well. It's funny. I was the phrase, are they sleeping together? Are they sleeping together? Like, it's become so ingrained in our vernacular to do this. And yeah, these trends are kind of changing in front of our eyes.
Like you said, anything for sleep, because mental health, personality-wise, if you're not getting sleep, and plus, who cares who you're sleeping next to? If you're sleeping, you're not even consciously aware of what's happening.
And the fact that everyone has a different temperature, I think you hit the nail on the head. One person's the cuddler, the other person's the, you know what I mean? Heat. That's why they're inventing all these different technologies to
cool this side,
heat this side. Exactly, like the his and hers car. Like, oh, I've got my heater in the passenger seat at like 72, and you've got yours at 80 over there, Maggie.
But also his point to snoring. A lot of people these days are getting those sleep masks, like because they have sleep apnea. I feel like everybody's finding out they have sleep apnea. That would add another layer of, hey, I don't really want to be sleeping next to this machine blaring in my ear. I'm gonna go sleep over there. Love you.
Yeah, exactly.
Bye. I'm gonna go sleep. See you in the morning. Who cares?
Shame.
Who cares?
I think we are united in this. No
Simpatico.
shame at all. All right, we are back with our favorite thing on the internet today. So stay with us for that. We'll be right back, everybody.
10:50. The cutest thing you will see today. I haven't seen it yet. Did you, Anthony?
Nope, I did not peek ahead here. We have a short video that says it all. Check it out.
I'm going to retire here. Hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love you. Hallelujah.
Okay, this is Mama Ethel, and no way she turned 90. She looks amazing.
She really does.
Okay, so she's a resident of Dalton, and for her big milestone, she had one special wish to ride in a fire truck. And thanks to Mayor Jason House, the Board of Trustees, our village clerk, and the Dalton Fire Department, that wish came true in a surprise she'll never forget.
Oh, were they about to
get her in that
her
fire
on
truck?
The fire engine?
Yeah.
You know. Oh, there we go. They're escorting her.
Look.
This is too cute.
Life of the party.
There we go.
Mama Ethel, tell us your secrets. Tell us your ways.
Oh,
I want to look like that when I'm 90.
Oh my gosh.
And the energy.
This, you know, you mentioned the new mayor. We have been covering so much negative news out of Dalton in recent years. The previous mayor, Tiffany Henyard, widely being labeled America's worst mayor. Mm-hmm. Jason House, he ran on that platform of cleaning house. And hey, not only do we have Mama Ethel riding around in a fire truck,
yeah.
we've got Pope Leo the 14th.
His house there?
His house there, and hopefully the city's finances are. But how can you not have fun on your 90th birthday when you got a couple of buff firefighters emerging from a fire truck with balloons and flowers?
And the amount of people, her family, her friends surrounding her to celebrate
she's well
alongside
loved.
her. That was just so sweet. By the way, circling back to that Pope House, did we ever find out how much the city...
No, we haven't found out how much.
To know.
Yes, because I know the auction house, if you didn't join us a couple weeks ago, we spoke with the auction house that was in charge of that, but the city wound up acquiring it, and I'm wondering if they were another bidder on it and they placed the highest bid.
We have
to dive in. That is a great follow-up question, Caitlin.
Was it actually they were given the money that they should have been given or not?
That's
Curious.
such a good question. Because it had been listed at 180 or something like that, and I'm guessing
it should have been higher
at least.
Also, before we came back, Anthony and I were talking. We're going to try to get a guest on, you guys. We're super excited about this to discuss a hot topic. We were just talking about sleep divorce, keeping finances separate when you're married.
Yes.
We just think that we could dive deep into this. So
yes,
hopefully we can
I do
get a
think
guest
that's
on
something
to
where
visit.
I think it does fall into it kind of it's a similar discussion as the sleep divorce. I think there are stigmas involved. There are traditional rules versus more modern ones. I was telling Caitlin, I've got friends who do it all different kinds of ways.
Yeah.
Some are fully integrated.
And do
others-
you find yourself judging them based on what they do?
Kind of, yeah.
Same.
I kind of do.
Right. So that's why I
And-
think it'd be very interesting.
And it's probably not good.
I
because
know.
I mean, right, every couple has a different dynamic, every
Right.
relationship, different characters, different dynamics, and same with the sleep divorce. It's like we have different schedules,
Yeah.
right? Than
So
the
we don't think
typical-
anything. It's
we
fine.
don't think, but like if
Others-
I was working a 9 to 5, if Maggie was working a 9
Right.
to 5,
Would it be okay?
weird?
Yeah.
Would it be weird if we did do this?
So we had a guest on. The reason why this came up in conversation is this morning we had a relationship guru, expert, finance advisor came on the show, and when we were talking, I asked her about what she would say, advice for finances especially. And she said, keep your finances separate. I said, what about if there's a stay-at-home parent? She said they need to have their own side hustle, or they should have a salary from their significant other. And I've seen that before on social media, like the whole salary for the stay-at-home parent. And my husband is a stay-at-home parent, and we were just cracking up about this because to me, like to Anthony's point, I am so set in my ways about sharing what's mine is yours and yours is mine, that to have that other idea, the aspect of they get a salary from the working spouse is just
seems like an unnecessary step. Now, what was her rationale behind, hey, don't combine them, don't
because
keep
you
them
never
separate?
know if you guys will separate and then you'll be out without any money. That was her point. But I feel like that's setting yourself up for
failure.
separation.
It's almost like it reminds me of
will you
signing
sign
a
something
prenup.
Yeah.
Because basically, it's like we're about to take these vows.
But maybe
But
not.
like, you know what?
But like, I don't know.
But there's
like,
an
cross
escape.
my fingers back
but
here.
we can deploy the parachute if necessary, which
Right.
again feels like a little bit of a
We're all in, baby. You get married,
all
you are
in,
all
baby.
in. So we'll talk about this in detail, maybe get some experts on here. It would be fun to have like differing, we should have a panel. We should have
I
her
think
back.
you should monitor this
And maybe
panel.
Dave Ramsey. He's another financial guru who is all about combining finances. Oh, we got to wrap it up. Maybe we'll have something like that. I
Our
feel like that'd
11
be an
o'clock
interesting
team is
discussion.
in the house. They got an exciting hour coming up before your lunch hour. But for Caitlin, Cody, I'm Anthony Ponce. Thank you so much for joining us on another edition of Chicago Now. We will see you right back here tomorrow, everybody.
Welcome back to Chicago Now.
Chicago right now.
Chicago 11 a.m.
Yeah, it's good to be here this morning.
You know what, like you just said off camera, it's always a good vibe in here. We always have such a good time.
We do always have a good time. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but Justine also is a hairstylist. Yesterday, I saw my hair on camera and I was like, I am so over all of this extension stuff. And Justine went and found some scissors and chopped me up.
You guys don't, doesn't
I
it
should have
look
recorded
good?
the video.
Yeah, we should have.
You did a really good job.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Growing up with sisters, you know, you always have to be able to do a little bit of something.
Being a triplet.
Being a triplet. I feel like we're going to mention this on every single show. But being a triplet with two sisters, you know, you got to cut hair, you got to do makeup, everything.
Yes,
so.
and you got to give them dating advice.
They give me dating
They
advice.
do. So speaking of dating, we have the Golden Bachelor.
We do.
Yes, in the house with us this morning, Jordan Heller, who he's already doubled as an assistant. So he's a gentleman. I dropped something, he picked it up. I was like, man, this guy seems like a good catch for somebody, I think. So we're going to talk to him coming up a little later in our show.
We are. But first, we're going to talk about trending topics.
Yes, we got a lot of them to get to.
So the first thing today, Uno social clubs. Have you heard about them?
I heard about this. They're unveiling this in Vegas, and they say one is going to be a pop-up here in Chicago.
Here in Chicago.
Yeah, and people thought that they'd be able to bet, like they'd be able to really play for money, and they cleared that up right away. Mattel did and said, you don't get to bet. This is just, you know, for entertainment, a social club.
They're noticing that younger generations love just gathering with their friends. They love having these game nights at home. So this is just a fun thing to get people social and energetic about it.
What's your favorite game to play out of all the games? Because sometimes I think some of the games that people play aren't always trendy, you know, but there's like games that families have and that they like to play. Is Uno one for you?
Mine is Uno. I just went on a boat a few days ago with some friends. I brought Uno in my backpack. I was ready to play.
Uno.
Uno is my game. What about you?
Spades and Uno would be
I
it
love
for me.
spades, but not everyone knows how to play spades.
Yeah,
I'm from
true.
Detroit, so of course I know how to play spades, but not everyone knows how to play spades.
I think it's like a Midwestern thing when it comes to spades, and it's like a family thing. A lot of families carry on that tradition for the family cookout, the family get together. So yeah, I love spades. It's always a good time, but that can start some fights.
Right, exactly.
I've gotten into some heated battles. If you're the partner that doesn't really play well, that can end really badly in the family. They're like, you're out of here. You're no longer a Ewing. You're no longer a Walker. You're done.
I think the same thing with Uno. Everyone always has their own little rules on how things are being played.
Yes.
For instance, I'm the type that's like, okay, we could play stacks and doubles, where you can stack all the colors, you can double all the numbers, and I know there are different rules. They're not the Uno rules. Uno is not saying this, but in my household, we're playing it.
Yeah.
We're playing it. Do you have a different rule?
I don't. Well, I know that, and I don't know if this is against the rules or not, but like if you draw, skip to, what is it, draw four, and you keep drawing them, and you keep throwing them, we like to play that way.
So
too.
that's what we call stacks. So
okay,
you just
so that's
keep
stacked.
stacking on top of, if you reverse it, if you added draw 4, and now you got to draw 8.
That's a good way to play.
Yeah, it's a fun way.
I think they should add this one for people to be able to gamble, because it will really be interesting to see how people, you know, play it.
Yeah.
When money's on the line.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Would you go to a social club like this, an Uno social
I would
club?
go to a Uno social club. I think it's more interesting to maybe my generation than some of the other games, because that's something that we were introduced to pretty young. Uno.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So the next trending topic.
What else we got?
Dolly Parton.
Oh, boy.
She released this kind of this message that was kind of sad. People were thinking, is Dolly Parton sick? So as you guys know, I cover trends. So this morning there were so many Google queries
Searches,
asking, is Dolly Parton sick? She's not sick, but she did say she's going to take a break from music.
Don't you think, I mean, respectfully, and I love Dolly Parton for a lot of different reasons, but I think when you hit a certain age, you deserve a right to say, hey, I want to bow out, and I want to bow out gracefully, and maybe this is like a subtle way for her to kind of wind down. She's 79 years old, which I did not know. I actually had to ask one of our crew members that, but she's 79 years old, and maybe, you know, she just wants to live her life away from the spotlight and kind of wind down.
I agree. If this was not her career, any other adult would be able to say, hey, I want to retire. I'm done. I want to relax. And her husband just recently passed. So I'm sure there's a lot of things going on that she just wants to take some time for herself and not give everything to the world.
You're a country music fan. How do you feel about this?
Oh, I love Dolly.
Yes.
And Jolene, that's my song.
Jolene. Yeah,
come
I like
on,
Jolene
come on,
too.
Tia with the vocals.
I can't sing it, but it's good.
That's my go-to song.
Okay.
So I absolutely love Dolly. I love everything that she's done, and how her relationship is with like Miley Cyrus and other young
I
country
do love
stars.
that about her.
I love that. So I think that it's time for her to just worry about herself and just take that time for herself and her own future endeavors. I know that she has so many charitable things that she does. Maybe
lot of philanthropy.
Lots of philanthropy. So maybe she focuses on that.
Yeah. We'll be watching, darling.
We will be watching.
I didn't sound like her. I tried, but we'll be watching.
And then lastly,
What do we
Emmy
have?
nominations.
Okay.
So the list just recently came out.
The Bear was on there.
The Bear, yeah. So there's a bunch of different categories. A few of the shows that are trending right now: The Bear, White Lotus, Severance, Paradise, and The Last of Us. All of those were nominated multiple times.
Okay.
Do you have a show that you wanted to be nominated, or what's your go-to show this year?
Listen, okay, don't judge me, okay, but I don't get to watch a lot of TV. I think we've talked about that.
Yep.
And when I do, I watch a lot of reality style shows because that's kind of like my mommy wind down, is to be in other people's. See, I don't have drama for real, so I like to see other people and how they handle their drama. So I watch a lot of reality TV, which is not obviously nominated for any of that. The Bear I have watched and I have enjoyed that, and I love seeing parts of Chicago, like, oh, okay, that's in Chicago, that's there. And I have watched Abbott Elementary, which I think they were nominated too, and I find that show to be hilarious. So some of them I've watched, not everything that you've said on the list. And you know, I'm not a person that's watching every single day, but I do catch up with some of those shows that you mentioned, and I've enjoyed them, and I think they're worth the nominations.
I agree. So I'm not a big TV watcher either. I feel like the nature of our career, we don't have too much free time to just go and binge a whole series.
True.
But what I do watch, I watched Paradise. I think that was an incredible series.
Okay.
It was with Sterling K. Brown. It's about, you know, so good. If you have not watched it, I highly recommend it. And then The Last of Us. I feel like that's a really good one. If you're not familiar, it's based on a video game with zombies and kind of like the end of the world. It's a fun show. I like it. But I'm very happy about these nominations. I think everything that was nominated deserves it, especially The Bear. Who doesn't love The Bear?
Do you feel like there were any snubs? Because a lot of times when these award seasons come around, we hear people chatter about snubs and, you know, is it inclusive? Where's the inclusivity? Did you feel like they actually, I guess, hit that mark this time around?
When I was scanning through the list, I think that they did a great job.
Okay.
I think there were so many different shows that were recognized. Like you said, Abbott Elementary. It's great to see those types of shows being recognized. So I honestly am happy with this list. I'm excited to see who actually goes and takes the Emmy home.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I love award season because then it's crazy because I'm not, like you said, we don't get to watch a lot of TV, but I'm like, yeah, I'm rooting for these people like I know them personally, and it's always fun to see, you know, people win. So.
Do you have a favorite Emmy speech or award speech?
Oh boy, Justine always asks me the hardest questions. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I do remember, and it wasn't for an Emmy, but Doechii had a pretty good speech. I thought it was pretty good. People get offended sometimes when people lean political or like their thought process when they take home a trophy. But for me personally, I kind of like it a little bit, even though in some cases I may not agree with everything they're saying. I kind of like a person that is willing to go on the edge and like be so vocal about something that they feel so passionate about. Even though I may not agree with everything they're saying, I feel like for me personally, I like that. When I won my, what did I win? I forget what you call our trophy. Is it an Emmy? Yeah, I won an Emmy.
Yeah.
How did I forget I won an Emmy? When I won an Emmy, I didn't go political. You know, I went childhood and thank you, mom and dad. But sometimes I love to hear when people are kind of like, you know, they're willing to take the risk and be in headlines the next day. I kind of like it.
I love that too. I feel like you're living on the edge, but you're doing it for a cause that you actually are supporting and a cause that you're passionate about. So I love that. I think that if I ever win my Emmy one of these days,
when you win your Emmy,
when I win my Emmy for this show,
I like it.
For this show, I cannot wait to just thank the people that have supported me, like my parents, my mom, my sisters, even my friends.
Would you go left? Would you go left, put that in there, and then go on a whole spiel about a cause that you have? Because people do that, and you know, like I said, some of the causes I don't care. Some of them I wouldn't have done it, but I kind of feel like it puts whatever your thoughts are in the headlines. It doesn't work with us. Like nobody's gonna be like, "Ooh, Tia Ewing said," and it's in the newspaper everywhere. But would you do that?
I think maybe for my second Emmy, my first one, I only have so much time.
Yeah,
so I
you
need
do.
to really put in, Mom, thank you. Like,
Dad, thank you.
Dad, thank you. Thank you for always supporting me. I think that'll be my first speech. So stay tuned to that one.
Yeah, because they'll cut that mic off.
Right.
If you keep going.
Exactly. They really will.
Yeah. Locally, they will do it.
So speaking of Emmys and cool TV shows, we've got the Golden Bachelor coming up soon, right after this break.
Perfect. All right, well, welcome back. If you're like me, you are hooked on reality TV, and everybody has watched, I believe at least should watch, The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, The Golden Bachelor and Bachelorette, and we have Jordan Heller here with us. You made it, what, to the 6th week?
I made it to the Final Four.
The Final Four.
Is that the 6th week? Yeah, I was there a total of like 5.5 weeks.
So you're from River Woods.
So I'm from Skokie.
Okay.
So I grew up in Skokie, moved from, when I got married, went to Buffalo Grove, and then River Woods, and now the city.
Okay.
So when the show contacted me, I was already downtown.
So how did they contact you? What was that process like? Where did they find you?
So it's bizarre. So my daughters we used to watch the show. I have 3 daughters.
Okay.
And I know my job was kind of making fun of watching the show while they were like, "Dad, we love this." And then after one episode in 2020, a couple of my daughters, unbeknownst to me, there was like if you know someone age 60, whatever, and I wasn't 60 yet, but they took a few Instagram pictures and a short paragraph and put it in. And then 4 years later, the show contacted me.
Wow.
And they called me last January, 2024. And I'm like, I'm not picking up a phone call from LA that I don't know. Like, what is that? So they called a couple days in a row, and then they texted me, said, "We're from the Golden Bachelor. We're trying to get a hold of you." And I was like, so I sent to my kids. We communicated in the group chat. They go, "Why don't you guys sign me up for something?" And they're like, "Yeah, but it was like 4 years ago." So then once I found out that it was real, I'm like, I'll play along. I'll go through the process.
What were your initial thoughts? Were you excited about it? Were you dating at the time?
I wasn't really dating at the time, so I'm always up for the adventure and an experience, so why not? I mean, you don't think you're going to get picked. So my initial response was, yeah, I'll go through it, but you don't really think you're ever going to get chosen for something like that.
So you were chosen. What was it like watching this woman that you're hoping that you end up with go through all of these dates? Because sometimes those dates get a little hot and steamy and you're like, man, are we starting at first base? Where are we going with this? And then you're in that mix too. Did you really have emotions watching that play out?
Well, so you don't see the dates.
Until after the fact.
You don't see it till after the fact. So we didn't know. So when you're in it, when we were there, my season, we were all about almost kind of like the guys. So we were, even though we were all competing for the same woman, they'd come back from me like, how'd it go? Did you kiss her? We were all like in for each other, legitimately in for each other. So which was great, and it was very real. So there wasn't a lot of competition until the very end between the guys. We were all honestly team guys.
Got it.
So you talked about your relationship with the other contestants. What would you guys do back after the dates and stuff when the cameras are turned off?
Yeah, so there's at the Bachelor Mansion, there's there's a pool, and behind the pool there's a big circle couch or a big U couch, and that was like the nightly spot where people would go. You can get cocktails, and we would kind of talk about the day, talk about each other. But it really was like a therapy session. We would talk about our relationships, our past relationships, our relationships with our kids, and we did a lot of laughing, and that was kind of where all the friendships were formed, and just kind of that was the essence of the show for us.
I know when I watch these shows, a lot of times the people that don't get picked, they blow up on social media because everybody's like, well, I'll take him. I liked him. I like what he was about. What happened after the show for you? Did you have this influx of women coming out of the woodwork?
Yes, I did. So it's a little overwhelming. So you have I think I had like 10,000 followers from the show, from like 600 to 10,000. But 9,000 of those were women thinking, well, if you're still single, let's, and it honestly is overwhelming. It's too much. Because at first you start answering them, and I'm like, hey, I'm not trying to I'm just like trying to be nice.
Yeah.
And then I felt like if I looked at a message, like, oh, I saw it, I have to answer it now. So then I was like, I can't even look at them because it's just too much. It becomes overwhelming. But it was flattering. It was fun. It throws off your sense of reality a bit because it's like, me? What are you talking about? It's crazy.
So for those 9,000 women that were reaching out to you, what are you looking for in a woman?
Or are you dating?
So I am dating. So I did find someone in the real world, in the wild, in late last fall. So I am seeing someone now. So it just happened to, it kind of came through the show, but on the kind of the backside of it. But yeah, so it was good. So it's happy. It's fun. It's going along well.
Okay, I'm listening. You said it came through the show. So did it come by way of direct message on?
No. I just happened to be invited to something, and I met someone at an event. That's all. So
okay.
that's what came through.
How has your life changed since being on the show? Are you going to more events? Are you getting these partnerships and sponsorships? How's life changed? So
all of those things. So it's been great. There's been really, I'm only a tiny bit of downside, but. So you get invited to a lot of things, which is really fun. Some parties, sporting events, movie events, and things in LA, which is, it's completely from a Chicago guy, get to be thrown out there and get thrown in with some big parties. It's great. And then I have had some brand deals. I did a little modeling. I mean, who would have, in a million years, I'm going to think a giant old person like me would be a model. But I mean, it's fun. It's been really fun. And the best part, I think, has been the friendships with the guys. So we're really close.
I don't know how old you are, but you did say they look for someone 60 and up. So I'm guessing you're at least 60 now. You don't look 60. She said, how has your life changed? What were you doing before this? What has been your career, and are you still doing that career?
So I was in sales. I was a business development for a company when I went on the show. It didn't last after the show because when I went on, I wasn't really thinking I'm going to stay. You have to be there 6 weeks. I wasn't really thinking I'm going to stay the whole time. Wasn't trying to win necessarily. So my job was like, well, it's a long time to be gone, 6 weeks. I'm in sales. I have a territory. And I was like, 2 weeks. I mean, let me get the experience that I'm looking for, and that's enough. But when you're there, you can't leave. You can't leave.
And your job was like,
bye, Jordan. I came back, and they were all. They actually didn't talk to me. I went to a sales meeting after I came back, and I'm like, it was really weird. It was a Zoom meeting, and no one mentioned that I was gone. No one mentioned it. Was really, really strange. So
you were gone for 6 weeks. I'm sure your daughters were watching every single episode. What were their thoughts? Were they happy with the way you played the game?
Yeah, so my daughters got me involved in this. I would not have done it without the full support of my girls. We're really close. And we had watch parties every, the big thing they were concerned about is me. I tend to be a little silly, and a little smart ass. And then, so they're like, Dad, please don't say anything to embarrass us or embarrass yourself. So they were super supportive. We had watch parties. They had a great time with it. They were their friends and the extension of all of it. It was really fun.
Did you see yourself back and thought for a second, I would have done that differently? Did you ever have that moment on the show? What was it? What was it that you would have done differently? There were a bunch of different parts where they want you to be, you really kind of want to break down those emotional walls. And I was resistant a little bit to do some of that. I mean, some of it is good, and you don't know where the line is, so for everyone it's different. Now I'd see I could probably been a little bit more vulnerable than I was. I'd probably been a little bit more open. I was fighting that a little bit. I was more trying to portray like who I was as my character and just have fun with it. And they're pushing a little bit more of the emotional side and the love side of things. I'm not quite that serious, so I was more trying to have some fun with it.
Was it hard knowing that there were so many cameras around and every interaction was being recorded?
Yeah, especially because of my skin. I'm like, oh my God, my skin's gonna look terrible. And it's hot, you're sweating, there's no makeup or anything. So, all the angles are not flattering in that show. And it's honestly, it's tough to watch yourself. I mean, maybe you guys understand that.
No, I get it.
Yeah, it's very tough to watch myself. I was like, oh my God, it's horrifying.
Did you go back and watch all the episodes?
So yeah, I watched them all. I've not actually gone back and watched them all because for that very reason. I let them just be how they are. I mean, I'll come back to them again, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would think at some point you would want to, probably like maybe 15 years from now, you'd be like, look at my younger self.
Yeah, my younger self.
Yeah,
right.
Let me ask you something. What is something that happens behind the scenes that maybe, you can give us a little tidbit that nobody would know?
I don't know that I'm supposed to say that kind of stuff.
Is it something?
Something, well, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes because you're filming. You're filming.
You
for
said
fun.
your skin. Look at that guy.
Oh,
yeah,
that's really nice. Oh,
that's a Golden Bachelor right there.
There's just a lot that goes on because they're filming for 5 days or something like that before, for every rose ceremony, and then we don't know what they're going to show either. So it was a little nerve-wracking because they've taken 5 days of filming and they're going to cut it into an hour or 2 hours. So it's a little nerve-wracking for sure.
What would you say was your favorite moment on the show? Was there a certain situation that you were in that you had a blast at?
Yeah, well, we had a one-on-one. My one-on-one with Joan, we went ice skating, and if you watched it all, I like to think of myself as a pretty good athlete, but I never ice skated in my whole life.
You were not.
So I cannot. And when you get the date card, it's a little bit of a riddle. They're like, and my riddle was, I want a love that melts my heart, something like that. I think that's what it was.
Something to that effect.
Yeah, and I was like, well, it's maybe we're doing like wax, melting or something. I go, just as long as it's not ice skating. And of course,
and it was
ice skating.
So the one thing I can't do is ice skate.
But did they ask you that? Because
no.
They never asked you anything about that to kind of like stir the pot.
Yeah, no. Joan in fact said that she goes, "You're like an athletic guy from Chicago. I figured you know how to ice skate." I'm like, you would have figured. But my mother back in the day is like, it's too cold to go out ice skating.
So what was your first impression of Joan?
So the first time you see her, you're driving up the driveway in the limo, and it's so surreal. There's cameras, and it's like she looks like like a 1,000-foot tall movie star. Yeah, Cinderella, gorgeous. And then your heart starts racing, and she was amazing. She was articulate and poised and relaxed and charming. And I was just I was a mess when I came out of the limo. They did a good job editing my entrance, but I honestly was a mess. I thought I'd blown it entirely at that point. So I didn't know what to say.
I got to ask you this, because I always go a little left with her interviews. What was it like 6 weeks with no real female?
Yeah.
If you've been in the wild, as you said, not me, you're used to hugging up on somebody at night or having a little, interesting conversation at night. What was that like 6 weeks with a whole bunch of guys?
Yeah, well, first the guys were great, and then when you leave,
you can't hug the guys.
No, we can't hug the guys. But so when you go back out, when you're finally released from the world, it's
a wild
time. It's a shake. It just takes an adjustment because you don't you have no phone, you have no internet, you have no TV, you have nothing, And then you get kind of used to that. And then they throw you back in the world, and you didn't tell anyone, nobody other than a few people knew where I was gone. So you have messages and you have emails and like, where have you been? And it's just really overwhelming. So it takes a few weeks to kind of get your feet back again, because you're just like, what's happening, in the world?
Wow. So after your entire experience on this, would you do another show? I know you're dating right now, so it's probably not going to be a Bachelor show, but would you do another?
Yeah,
another
no,
show?
absolutely. That chance to kind of change your life and get peek behind the scenes, and it was so fun. I mean, everyone there was fantastic. I love the experience. I would love to, if anyone's watching, give me a travel show, a food and wine show, a sports show, something. Yeah, I would love it. I thought it was, I wish I had tried delving in that a little earlier in life, but it was fantastic.
Have you been poached to do anything else and you were like, no, I don't want to do that?
Well, I could have been on like this Bachelor in Paradise, but
Okay.
I have a girlfriend. That was
Yeah.
my new job wasn't crazy about the idea of being gone also. So
Yeah. So you wouldn't be one of those people, because there was a reality show, and we talked about this on this show. There was a reality show that this guy went on. He claimed, he was single, he had no kids, and then boom,
Yeah.
It turns out he's not single. It turns out he does have kids. You wouldn't play that role to have
no, I
something
wouldn't.
else.
I mean, I would love to have been on the show, but I wouldn't have. It would have been disingenuous just for me to go to the. It would have turned out bad for me for sure.
Because it would have been revealed.
It would have been revealed. I mean, the internet knows everything, right?
Yes, they do.
I couldn't have got away with that for too long.
So you clearly went on this show for love and romance. What romantic tips would you give someone your daughter's age?
Yeah, so I always think like authenticity is the biggest thing. So be authentic, be genuine. Don't be a game player. I think I can kind of read through some of that right away from people. Just be who you are. I think letting your guard down and being vulnerable is the best advice I can offer to anybody. And then don't take things too seriously. I don't take things too seriously. I don't really get offended that easily. Just roll with the punches. That's my advice.
What would you say to someone that wants to, maybe they've been poached by reality TV and they're hesitant? Because it sounds like initially you were a little hesitant about, do I want to put myself out there? Do I want to do this? What would you say to someone now that you've gone through it?
Well, I think there's two things. So one is you don't know what comes out. Some people get kind of crucified even though they didn't do anything wrong on the show. So I was glad that didn't happen to me. They didn't really show my personality on the show. They went with a more serious tone. But because I had a lot of people, women specifically, asking me, hey, I'd like to go on the Golden Bachelor. What do you think? Would you do it? And I said, everyone, absolutely do it. At the very least, go through the process. I mean, it's an experience that you can, how many people are going to get this experience in your life?
Sure.
Try it. Go for it. I mean, that would be my experience. Why not?
So what qualities do you think the show really liked about you to cast you on it?
That's a good question. So,
The way he looks.
you go through a
The
lot
way
of.
he
Right, you're
What'd you say?
clearly handsome. You're clearly
way he
handsome.
I mean, shucks, you guys, stop it. No, I think maybe they like my authenticity. I think the first interview, they're telling you what happened in your life, what happened in your marriage, and I just was honest with them, in a way. And I spoke about, this came up later in one of the interviews. They asked me about my relationship with my daughters, and I spoke about my daughters to the interviewers, and afterwards they said your whole demeanor changed about your relationship with your daughters and how important that was to you, and we really liked what we saw. But still, you don't really know till almost to the filming date that that they're including you. So I don't know. They like something. I'm glad. Whatever it is, I don't know what it is. There's an X factor involved in everything, right? So
I think you're very personable. Just sitting here talking to you, I don't feel like there's any put-ons. What you see
yeah,
is what
no,
you get.
Thank you. That's what I try to portray.
I was going to ask you in terms of editing, because that's one of, I think, the most critiqued things in reality TV is when someone's on, they feel like maybe they edited what they said or how that conversation played out. Did you think some of the editing could have been different the way that you were portrayed?
Well, yeah, I think the show went for a serious tone on my side. We had a lot of fun. In particular, I was constantly messing with the guys. That's just my personality, messing with the guys. And a lot of it was really fun and funny, and I was hoping to see some of it on some of the shows, but it really didn't show up. So I would have liked to have seen, because people said, oh, you were my favorite one. I'm like, how? I didn't do anything to be your favorite. So, but I did, they just didn't show it. So I think they have an idea after it's filming, then they cut how they want to portray the season. And I don't think they even know how they're going to do that till it ends. And I would have liked to have seen more Jordan, more fun Jordan, but it was okay for me.
Were you a big reality show watcher before this?
Not a big reality show, but I did watch, like with my girls, it was a weekly thing for us to watch the Bachelor, the Bachelorette. That's really probably all of it.
Did
maybe.
anything sway you from like acting a certain way from what you've seen on other reality shows?
Well, you have a little, a little sense of trying to be, not give away too much, like just cry my eyes out or something. I don't want to give away the everything right away. Dig it out of me a little bit. So yeah, I was a little bit hesitant to fully open up, just because, it's still scary. It's a little bit scary. Now I have a little bit better understanding of how the whole thing works, and next time I'll be better if it comes to that.
Last question: Are
Yes.
your DMs still blowing up? And where can people find you?
So you can find me on Instagram, Jordan K. Heller, and then I also just started a little social pickleball club in Chicago called Third Shot Social. So anyone wants to play pickleball with me, I'm still pretty active, and I play beach volleyball and all of that. And my DMs, that's what you asked me about. So there are some very persistent people out there. There are. I'll say that. Definitely persistent people out there. But that's good. So because I interact with them as well. They're nice people. They're not. It's nothing, crazy.
So if they hit you up, just know it's all about pickleball. No other activities.
Yeah.
Pickleball. That is it.
Just
taken.
Beach volleyball, pickleball.
Yes.
Have some fun in Chicago. I'm a Chicago guy. I love the city. So I partake in all the festivals, music, dining. I love it all.
It's been great having you on.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You guys have been fantastic.
I can't wait to see
We're going to
what
win
you
that
do
Emmy
next.
together.
Yeah, let's win it
We're
together.
gonna win this Emmy.
All right, we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Welcome back. The time is 11:33. Have you ever heard of the saying shooters shoot? Well, women are taking things into their own hands, and they're doing this trend where they go to a restaurant. After they place an order, they accidentally pick up this order, try and find the guy's name on LinkedIn, and then they shoot their shot.
So they're going to a location like a Sweet Green or someplace like that, or Just Salad, right? And they're looking for a guy's name.
A guy's name, correct.
They don't know if this guy is single, married.
They don't know anything.
Possibly in a situationship. and they go find him.
And they go find him.
That's giving stalker psycho.
They send him a message. They say, hey, I got your salad order. I can meet you here to pick up your salad. And then they see if things might spark some conversation.
No, that's just how you get in trouble. Because if you pulled out with my husband, I'm going to come looking for you. What I will say is I don't have any problem with being forward. If you see a guy that you think is attractive, to walk up and talk to him. Because I think part of why they're doing this, they're saying men just don't come up and talk to women anymore. I don't think anything's wrong with approaching a guy, but I mean, that's going a little too, you're giving detective crazy vibes by doing that.
I mean, essentially you're giving criminal. You just stole this man's salad for a phone number. I don't know. I feel like that initially would be a red flag for me.
And you stalked him.
You stalked him.
To then go try to find. And then here's my other question. So for example, I've ordered from places like Sweetgreen. It may say Tia E. So are you going to go look for every Tom E that you see? I mean, that's insane.
That's insane.
How do you track them down? There's no, like on a lot of these, there's no phone number. It's just the first name, last initial. So that means you're doing some serious detective work. And then if you don't find them, are you eating the salad?
Right. What happens to the guy that's waiting for his salad? Is he just going to be hungry now because you decided you wanted to get a phone number?
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
I think that's going way too far.
So do we feel like in this day and age, people go these extreme lengths to date and find relationships?
Yes, I do. I think people go way too far in this case to find love. It is absolutely nothing wrong with, being forward, seeing somebody you're interested in, wanting to have a conversation, wanting to see. First, you need to find out if they're available. But I don't see anything wrong with that. But let's see the video of how this all plays out so that we can get a better understanding.
Yeah.
I can't hear her, but she's talking about it. What does that title say? The current state of dating in NYC. So this started in New York City.
Taken every week. Like, I'm seeing girls get so creative. Guys, the dating scene is getting so bad in New York City that I am seeing on TikTok there are girls going into Midtown during the week and stealing Finance Bros salads for lunch. And then looking their name up from the salad order on LinkedIn and then messaging them through there and being like, hey, oh my god, so sorry, I grabbed your salad, like, let me just make it up to you and buy you a new one. And that's how they're, like, sliding in, which, honestly, smart. Why are we stealing men's salads? Like, why can't they just come up to us at a bar? Like, why is it getting to this point? Men, just please step up, or your salad.
There's no way I would do that. If anything, I could see myself going to a bar, a popular bar or restaurant that some men I might be interested, some finance bros might be at, and then I go and approach them. But I'm not stealing their salad to start a conversation. I'm also not a shy person. I'm the type of person that says, oh yeah, I love your outfit, or you look handsome today. I'm not gonna be scared enough that I have to steal someone's salad for it.
One word that she said that automatically shot it all down. Smart. No, this is not smart. This is stupid. And it is not wise to do. I think you're setting yourself up for failure because, first of all, the way you get a man is how you keep him. Mm-hmm. And if you're stalking him out and doing all this stuff, that's how the relationship is going to play out. Now, listen, I was forward when I got my husband. My husband liked me. I had a situationship. And eventually I was like, man, maybe he is the one. Let me call him and tell him. But we had been friends, and I was forward about that. But I didn't go stalking him out and going to his house and looking through the windows. This is borderline that. I mean, It's a few steps away. And if I'm a guy and a woman did all that to get my attention, I'm not interested.
Okay, so let's say roles reversed. A man does this for you.
He's crazy. Run.
Absolutely. There's no, and now that I've seen this video, I'm going to be checking for this. If you get my salad,
keep it.
Go ahead and have it. I'll order another one. There's no way I'm going to, especially if you found me on LinkedIn or some type of social media platform.
No, those stories is what domestic violence is made out of, because that starts stalking. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is stalking. There's no way around it.
Okay, so for someone who does want to reach out to someone, but they're a little shy, they don't really know too much right now, what would you recommend? How can they reach out to someone that they're interested in?
Well, the first thing I would say is I would go look for a guy where guys are. I'm going to Home Depot. I'm going to Lowe's. I'm going to places like that where I know men are going to be. You need to go where men are. A bar, okay, maybe, but there's other women in a bar. You need to go where they're in an isolated situation. Maybe baseball games, maybe football games, places like that where they're either with their guys or they're alone. Home Depot is probably, or Lowe's, Menards, pick one, is probably a good place to start. That's where I would go. Somebody that's handy, you know, they obviously have a home, right? So that's where I'm looking. They told us to wrap, but that's where I'm looking.
Well, coming up, we're going to wrap it up because coming up, we are talking to someone about galaxies and new planets. So
Yes.
stay tuned.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I've always wanted to say that. You know that line from Star Wars, but in all seriousness, a galaxy that has remained unchanged for 7 billion years has just been discovered by astronomers. And here to talk to us about it is Dr. Mike Zevin from Adler Planetarium. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me on.
Okay, fossil galaxy, explain that. What is that?
Well, galaxies, even though they, live for billions of years, our Milky Way has been around for over 10 billion years. They go through a lot of changes over time. They interact with other galaxies, they're forming new stars. But every once in a while, you'll get one of these galaxies that's kind of like an ancient relic of how it was in the very early stages of formation. And this is what this fossil galaxy is that was discovered recently. So this galaxy, like you said, seems relatively unchanged for about 7 billion years. So it's a great way for astronomers to study kind of the early conditions of the universe and the ways that these galaxies actually form in the early times of our universe's history.
So how do people determine that a galaxy is unchanged?
Well, there are a couple ways. So one is by looking at all the stars in the galaxy. So stars emit light, and stars that are young, stars that are being born, emit a different kind of light than old stars that have been around for a very long time. Another thing is this galaxy is very compact, so it's squished together much more than something like our Milky Way. And these are both signs that it has been relatively unchanged. It hasn't gone through mergers with other galaxies that have triggered star formation in it whatsoever. And exactly how these things come to be is not precisely known, but one of the ideas is that these galaxies have a massive black hole in their center that kind of expels all the gas and kind of makes it frozen from its initial state.
Dr. Zevin, walk me through this. Bring me into your world. How does someone discover a fossil galaxy? Are you looking at images? Are you looking through telescopes? Like, how do you discover something like this when obviously you've been examining our galaxies for quite some time?
Yeah, and there are hundreds of billions of galaxies out there in the universe. These are really rare ones to find. So the way that we look for them is using what we call survey telescopes. So these are telescopes that aren't looking at a very particular small part in the sky, but rather looking at a large swath of the sky and able to image many, many galaxies at once. So the Rubin Observatory is one that has big US contributions that's just getting started right now. But by doing this, you can find these oddities, these kind of rare objects in the universe. This one in particular might be something that's like a 1 in a million type of galaxy out there.
So I know a lot of people are wondering this, but what did you find inside of the galaxy? Is there life?
So this galaxy is very far away. It's about 3 billion light years away. So we're actually seeing how it was 3 billion years in the past. Much too far away to possibly try to understand whether there are, planets that we can detect or life. Really, we're only constrained to our Milky Way to be able to do that right now. So as far as life, we have no idea, but there's no reason to think that this galaxy didn't form planets similar to how our Milky Way does.
Someone may be watching this and thinking, okay, we know about a lot of galaxies. We know about, for example, Mars and places like that we may never get to go to. Why is this important for the everyday man and woman?
Well, I think it's important because we all care about why we're here and how we came to be. And looking at these very ancient relics, these fossilized galaxies, are giving us a glimpse into kind of the initial conditions of our universe. So it's allowing us to not just look back 3 billion years, but look back much further and further in time to see what our very early universe was like. And also tells us a little bit of our own story in the Milky Way, why the Milky Way is special and why, it evolved to give us the beautiful galaxy that we live in.
Can you talk to me about the differences you found in the Milky Way galaxy and then this other galaxy?
So some of the differences are that this other galaxy is very old and dead. By dead, I mean that it's not forming new stars. So we estimate, the astronomers that were part of the study estimate that about 99.5% of the stars are kind of relic stars of the very early times of this galaxy's history. Galaxies like our Milky Way have gone through collisions in the past. We have an anticipated collision with our nearby Andromeda galaxy in about 4.5 billion years. But somehow this galaxy was just lucky enough that it didn't go through any of these major collisions that triggered new formation of stars or changed the shape of it that much. So it's much more compact and has much older stars than our Milky Way does.
So now that this has been discovered, what's the process? Is this something that will continue to be watched over the years? Will there be a search for even more galaxies around it? What's kind of like the future of all of this?
Yeah, the future is finding more galaxies that are in these kind of fossilized states. It'll give us a better census of what the early universe was like. So there are other telescope missions that are looking for other examples of these fossilized galaxies. This was the farthest one that we've found so far, so it's kind of the closest link to that early universe that we've had. But finding more of these and starting to understand their properties, why the star formation turned off in these, why they didn't interact with other galaxies over their billions of years history, are all important clues to understanding the very early universe.
So you talked a little bit about how they prevented from merging and things like that. Why is that? Why is the stars, why are they certain like 1 billion years dead? What happened with the stars and why they're not forming anymore?
So why it didn't merge with other galaxies, that's kind of a mystery. It might just be that this was a particularly lucky galaxy, or unlucky depending on how you look at it, that it didn't, interact with other galaxies nearby. The stars being dead, that's also a mystery. Something had to have happened to kind of expel a lot of the gas from this galaxy to prevent further star formation from happening. So for example, our Milky Way is producing about 1 new star every single year. Whereas this galaxy is mostly stars that have been made, billions and billions of years ago. One of the ideas of how you can expel this gas in these galaxies is through something called an active galactic nucleus. So it's a supermassive black hole. These things are sitting in the centers of most galaxies, but these supermassive black holes can kind of eject gas from the galaxy and cause the star formation to effectively turn off.
Now, Doctor, help me understand this. Does this fossil galaxy have a name? Is this it? KIDSJ0842 plus 0059?
Yeah, isn't it catchy?
How does it get? No, I'm so confused. How does it get that name? I mean, that's so for the average person looking at that, it's so complex.
Yeah, it's not as flashy as something like the Milky Way or the
Yeah.
Andromeda, but when you're dealing with astronomical objects, we have so many billions of things that they're typically cataloged in pretty regular ways. The KIDS, the kids, that's a particular survey, the one that first found this particular galaxy. And then the J and a bunch of numbers or coordinates of where this thing is.
Wow. That's really
But
interesting.
maybe someone will come up with a better nickname for it that'll come off the tongue a little easier.
And scientifically, though, how does that work when you name them? Like, okay, we know the Milky Way. That's common knowledge now, right? Like, who comes up to define what the name will actually be and determine it?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's not really a scientific way to do it. Sometimes kind of popular opinion or nicknames will pop up, and then people will start calling it that. But in science articles and things, it'll always have these kind of boring names.
Interesting, not boring, just interesting.
And then lastly, can you tell us about any future developments that you're looking for specifically with this galaxy? I know we talked about other galaxies, but what are you looking for in this galaxy?
So I'm not involved with this study, so I don't work on these kinds of galaxies typically. So I'm presuming that people will do more detailed observations of this galaxy, get detailed what we call spectra, so break the light from this galaxy up into its component colors. This can tell us about the chemical abundances and things like the star formation that is happening in these types of galaxies. But like I was saying earlier, just finding more of these will get us a better census of these rare objects in the universe. We have so many galaxies to look at in the universe that we need these big surveys to find the interesting oddities that can help us connect ourselves to these distant parts in the universe.
I find it so interesting. I mean, I really do. We could talk about this all day, and I really appreciate you coming on with us, Dr. Mike Zevin. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. That was interesting.
That was so cool.
Yeah, very interesting. Very detailed, too.
Yeah.
He knew
I
everything.
feel like things with astronomy and stars, there's never enough information. You never know everything.
Yeah, because we want to know. I think we live, because we're here on Earth, we feel like there's an answer for everything. And some things, I think, in that world just don't have a definite answer.
Right.
So, yeah, it's always almost like a mystery. And I think that's why people are so intrigued by it. So,
did you like that growing up? Were you into stars and space and
I
planets?
was, yeah. I had a telescope and everything growing up, and was totally into it. And I still, when you get into the hustle and bustle of life, sometimes you forget to look up. But it's so amazing to see. Like, I've lived in a lot of different places, and in certain places you see everything very clearly, and then you move to another state or city, and it's all, you don't see anything. So I always found that to be very interesting too. So
I agree. I've always loved to go outside and do a little stargazing. My dad lives in the country, so when you don't have those city lights,
Yes.
you really get to see how big the world is, or kind of think about how big the world is.
Yeah, looking at the Big Dipper, the Little Dipper, all very interesting. All right, and we have much more interesting things to talk about right after this break. One of my good friends, her name is Sia New Yorker. She said, "Child, when there's drama, this is a child moment." And Nicki Minaj is acting like a child. That's how I'm going to introduce this. So if you haven't heard, Nicki Minaj, the rapper, is beefing with R&B singer SZA. Really, she's beefing alone because SZA, to my knowledge, has not responded to this. According to people that are in the entertainment industry, they say this all started when Nicki Minaj wanted to have a collab with SZA in 2020. And from there, I don't know what happened. It didn't work out, the collaboration. And so for some reason, Nicki Minaj has brought this beef back up and, or put this beef out there. And I just feel like I have Serena, who works behind the scenes with us here, to look up and see how much Nicki Minaj is worth. $150 million. Listen, if I get those kind of zeros behind my name, and even if I don't, right now I'm a grown woman, I'm not beefing with anybody. No. And how is a rapper beefing with somebody that sings love music?
Exactly.
SZA's all about the vibes.
She is.
She really is.
And especially someone that has looked up to you in your career and you're upset because someone didn't have a collaboration. I saw that she was saying that she felt bullied by SZA's label. Even then, there's a point where you just need to be a grown woman and handle that either outside of social media, privately, or just don't say anything at all.
Or deal with the label. Why are you going after this one artist? Because here's the problem. With a person like Nicki Minaj, her fans are called the Barbs, if you don't know. And when she's mad at somebody, that whole group of people go attack that somebody. And it's really unnecessary. And we do know that SZA has had a little, I don't want to say fright issues, but I want to say she had some fear of being on stage and stuff like that. So you're pushing like a very negative energy towards her. And from what I've ever seen of her, she's always been very positive and about good energy. That's kind of how she lives her life.
Right. So I'm very surprised by this, but
I'm not.
Because Nicki Minaj can be a little messy sometimes. She is known for having lots of beef with different rappers. Cardi B.
Megan Thee Stallion, they're beefing for something. I mean, at some point, when do you look in the mirror and say, maybe I'm the problem?
Or would you say, I know this is similar with Kendrick and Drake, do you think that this could be a way to boost your numbers? Is it a way to get more fans or have fans on one side and not on the other?
It's a good way to look at it. I will say that for us grown folks, it makes us not want to really deal with you. You know, like for me, I don't look at Nicki Minaj as, you know, somebody that I look up to or anything like that. Some of her music I've enjoyed, but it makes me feel like I don't even want to hear your music. Like I don't dwell in drama. You know, I think that, you know, like I told you, I watch reality TV, but we know that's fake drama. That's made up. You out here really beefing with people for, at least it appears. I don't see how SZA would want that, even if Nicki Minaj was trying to drum up energy for a record or something like that, or a new album. I don't think SZA will want that, and I just think it's just unprofessional and childish.
Especially the comments she was saying too. It wasn't they weren't nice comments at all. She was talking about her appearance and the freckles that she draws on her face. She was talking about how her voice sounds, that she sounds like a dying dog. That would not be something that I want on the internet at all. So it'd be hard for me to think that she's using this drama just to promote an album or just to boost her numbers.
What happened to being a nice person?
Right.
What happened to being a nice girl? What happened to being a girl's girl, where you just are nice to another girl? If you have problems with the label, deal with the label. Don't go attacking other people. Listen, I don't go attacking folks. I just don't have time for it. Sure, there's people that I'm not a fan of, but I'm not attacking them online. They know how I feel. They may feel the same way about me, and that's where you leave it.
Exactly.
You don't, I know. That's just, I think it's very tacky of Nicki Minaj. She's the older one, I believe, between the two. She should act like it. Act like a grown woman, Nicki. It's given tack. It's not given Barbie. I don't think Barbie is like that. Barbie is a girl's girl.
Barbie is a girl's girl. Barbie is happy. Barbie is happy to put other women onto things. Yeah. And the fact that you're making her seem like this horrible person, or you're just embarrassing her. Nicki Minaj has millions and millions of fans that will do anything for her.
They do.
And now you have fans saying SZA's this horrible person.
And I love SZA. And she can sing. Nicki, I don't know if you can sing. Your rap lyrics, they're okay. Ooh. But I just feel like at this point you should bow out. And bow out gracefully. Be the adult in this situation.
I agree.
Have a good day, Nicki. And you have a good day too. Thank you so much for watching Chicago Now. We'll see you right here tomorrow, same place, same time.
See you tomorrow.
Don't be messy.
Live from Chicago, this is Fox 32 News at Noon.
Next at noon, a showdown at City Hall over the SNAP curfew. Will City Council override the mayor's veto? Illinois Controller Susana Mendoza says she won't seek a fourth term. We're going to tell you what she's hinting at for 2027. And it is another hot and humid day, but the rain is on the way. Caitlin will tell us what we can expect and if we're getting showers. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Sylvia Perez. Let's take a live look outside for you as we see some overcast skies, still a little hazy, wondering about that air quality alert and the rain that could be headed our way. Caitlin has all the answers for us. What can we expect, Caitlin?
All right, so first of all, air quality alert is in effect again today, Sylvia, until midnight. So far, it's been quiet outside of that, though. Temperatures are climbing. It's going to be a very hot day. Temperatures peaking in the upper 80s and low 90s, and we do have a few showers developing just west of Chicagoland. Throughout the afternoon into this evening, we have the chance for strong to severe thunderstorms, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But the air quality alert, as mentioned, this is for most of Chicagoland, with the exception of LaSalle County, DeKalb County, and Kankakee not included. But sensitive groups, take it easy outside yet again. Temperatures checking in now. We're in the mid-80s in DeKalb, 84 degrees as our cool spot. As we get closer to the lake, you can see O'Hare is 88 degrees, 87 at the lakefront. Temperatures already tagging the low 90s in Gary. And this afternoon, we are going to get into the low 90s, feeling like we could be in the mid to upper 90s with that heat index. And that's going to be fuel for some thunderstorm development. I'll time it out for you ahead.
All right, thanks for that, Caitlin. The SNAP curfew is back at the forefront today. Several city council members are challenging the mayor's veto on the city's SNAP curfew for minors. Joni has the latest on the push to override.
It took 2 years to get the SNAP curfew ordinance approved by City Council, only to have Mayor Johnson veto it. But there was one more fight brewing here at City Hall. A dozen alderpersons joined Mayor Johnson and youth activists to support the mayor's veto of the SNAP curfew ordinance. They say it would not improve public safety and would cause more problems. The ordinance would have allowed the police department superintendent to call a curfew for safety anywhere at any time. Teens would be given time to disperse. It's a tool to prevent teen takeovers from becoming dangerous or violent. This year, 2 people were shot in separate incidents. Mayor Johnson says it wouldn't have been effective.
There is no study that we have seen, or frankly anyone in Chicago has seen, that says that these type of measures and curfews will keep young people safe.
With just 30 minutes notice, that's not safety. Baby, that's targeting. That's trauma added onto more trauma. Right. This curfew would allow the police to shut down parks and beaches and public spaces, the few places where we can go to breathe, and turn them into war zones.
Alderman Brian Hopkins warned there will be more violence.
And the mayor just threw the police under the bus. The